In one of his letters, he threatened to hijack a school bus full of children and shoot them one by one as they got off. Police took it seriously enough to put armed escorts on buses across an entire region. This is the story of a killer who didn't hide from the police. He called them, he wrote to them, he dared them to catch him, and after more than 50 years, they never did. This is the story of the Zodiac Killer. It started in Vallejo, California, in December 1968. A teenage couple, parked near a quiet road at night, were shot without warning. No motive, no connection between the killer and his victims, just violence out of nowhere. Then, months later, he did something almost no killer does. He called the Vallejo Police Department himself and calmly described the murders in detail, like he was reporting someone else's crime, not confessing to his own. In July 1969, he struck again. Another couple parked at a different location. This time, one victim survived and gave police a description. But his most infamous attack came that September at Lake Berryessa, wearing a black hood with a strange symbol on his chest. One victim survived to describe him in more detail than anyone ever would again. He wasn't just a killer, he wanted an audience, because after Lake Berryessa, he stopped hiding behind silence and started writing. He sent letters straight to newspapers, demanding they publish his words on the front page, or he'd kill again. And they published them. Along with the letters came something no one expected: secret codes, ciphers built from strange, alien-looking symbols. He claimed each one held a piece of his real identity. 3 of them fell within weeks, cracked by a schoolteacher and his wife working at their kitchen table. But one cipher refused to break, not for months, not for years, for over 50 years. Codebreakers tried, the FBI tried, thousands of amateurs online tried and failed. Then in December 2020, 3 strangers from 3 different countries who had never even met finally cracked it using software they built themselves. Inside, it wasn't a name. It was something colder, a boast. He said killing was his ticket into the afterlife. Meanwhile, police were chasing hundreds of suspects. The most infamous was Arthur Lee Allen. He matched the description, he matched the profile, but his DNA didn't match the evidence. In 2021, a group of retired investigators went public with a new name: Gary Post. Police have never confirmed it. The case was officially closed that same year, not because it was solved, because there was nothing left to investigate. To this day, nobody knows his real name. And that's what makes this case different from almost any other in American history. Not the body count, not the violence, but the fact that a man who wanted so badly to be known got exactly the kind of immortality he was chasing. Not as a name, as a mystery that still refuses to end. For decades, one name haunted this case more than any other: Arthur Lee Allen. He lived in Vallejo, the same city as the first murders. He matched the composite sketch. He wore the same brand of military boots found at one crime scene. And a childhood friend came forward, claiming Allen had confessed to being the killer years earlier. Investigators searched his home. They found bomb-making manuals, knives, and even a stash of chilling notebook. For years, he was the prime suspect. But there was one problem: DNA. In 2002, police tested DNA from an unopened Zodiac letter, and it didn't match Arthur Lee Allen. He was never charged. He died in 1992, still under suspicion, but never convicted. Then, in 2021, a new name emerged: Gary Post. A team of retired investigators, calling themselves the Case Breakers, claimed they'd finally solved it. They pointed to old photographs, matching scars, and circumstantial evidence linking Post to the crime scenes. They announced it publicly. Headlines exploded. But police never confirmed it. No DNA match. No formal charges. To many experts, it was theory, not proof. 2 names, 2 decades apart. Neither one confirmed. And somewhere in that gap between suspicion and certainty, the real killer's name is still missing. 57 years later, the case still refuses to close. 2 of his ciphers remain unsolved to this day. Short blocks of code known as Z13 and Z32. Meanwhile, forensic science has caught up to cases that once seemed impossible. The same technique that finally caught the Golden State Killer, genetic genealogy, built from DNA and family trees, is now being applied to Zodiac evidence. But there's a problem. The evidence is over 50 years old, degraded, and even if a clean DNA profile is found, there's still no confirmed match to compare it to. In 2025, a retired FBI profiler released a book claiming access to previously unseen police files and new witness interviews, reigniting public debate all over again. That same year, a new documentary premiered at Sundance, revisiting the case frame by frame. And a separate Netflix series brought fresh attention to Arthur Lee Allen's family and what they still believe today. By the end of 2025, yet another amateur investigator came forward, claiming to have finally cracked the case using nothing but public records and a theory of his own. Investigators haven't confirmed it. They never do, because that's the pattern with this case. Every few years, a new name surfaces, a new claim, a new headline, and every time, it fades into the same place all the others did, unconfirmed. 57 years, 2 unsolved codes, countless theories, and somewhere, buried in evidence too old to speak, and a name still waiting to be matched. The Zodiac Killer remains exactly what he wanted to be, unknown.